In this video, we will talk about how to compare mixed numbers. So I have three examples for us to work through here. Let's check out this first example. We have the mixed number 2 3/5, and we want to compare that with the mixed number 3 2/3. Which one is larger? Well, when we're comparing mixed numbers, we first want to focus on the whole numbers in each mixed number. So here we have a whole number of 2, and here we have a whole number of 3. So if we can, we first want to say, well, which whole number is greater? Well, 3 is greater than 2, so we don't even have to go any further because we know that 3 in some fraction is always going to be greater than 2 in some fraction. So this one's pretty easy. We can just draw a greater than sign towards the 3 2/3 because 3 in something must be greater than 2 in something. So that's our final answer on that one. All right, let's try another example. Let's say we have the mixed number 3 3/5 and the mixed number 3 2/3. Which one is larger? Well, once again, we'll start by comparing the whole numbers. So we can see that this mixed number has a whole number of 3, and this mixed number also has a whole number of 3. So since they have the same value, we need to move on to the fractions to determine which fraction is larger. So is 3/5 or is 2/3 larger? Well, that's not exactly obvious, but one trick that we can use is we can convert each fraction to a new fraction with the same denominator. So the way that we do that is we take the denominator of the first fraction and we multiply both the numerator and the denominator of the other fraction by that number. And then we take the denominator of the second fraction and we multiply both the numerator and denominator of this first fraction by that number. And what we're going to find is that this will produce fractions with the same denominator. So let's see what we get. 3 times 3, that's 9. Let's write that right here. 9 over 5 times 3 is 15. And then over here we have 2 times 5, that's 10. Over 3 times 5 is 15. So notice what we've done. We converted 3/5 and 2/3 into 9/15 and 10/15. So these fractions have the same denominator. So now to know which one is larger, we just compare the numerators. So we can see that 10 is greater than 9. Or in other words, 10/15 is greater than 9/15. Or in other words, 2/3 must be greater than 3/5. So we can go ahead and draw the greater than sign towards 3 2/3. So that's how you can compare mixed numbers with the same whole number. Simply convert their fractions to have the same denominator, and then it becomes very easy to compare the two. All right, let's try one more example. Let's say we have the mixed number 7 3/5 and the mixed number 7 7/12. Which one is larger? Well, once again, we'll start by comparing their whole numbers. So this mixed number has a whole number of 7, and this mixed number also has a whole number of 7. So now we have to move on to comparing the fractions since they have the same whole number. So is 3/5 or 7/12 larger? Well, to figure out which one is larger, we'll use the same trick that we did in the previous example, where we convert the fractions to have the same denominators. So we'll take the denominator of the first fraction and we'll multiply both the numerator and denominator of this fraction by that number. And then we'll take the denominator of this fraction and we'll multiply both the numerator and denominator of this fraction by that number. So let's see what we get. 3 times 12, that's 36. I'll write that right here. Over 5 times 12, that's 60. And over here we have 7 times 5, that's 35. Over 12 times 5, that's 60 once again. So once again, we've converted them to fractions with the same denominator. So to know which one is larger, we simply need to look at the numerators. So 36 is greater than 35. So that means 3/5 is greater than 7/12. So we can go ahead and say that 7 3/5 is greater than 7 7/12.